Coming up, we're talking sprint car news from Noah Gass and JJ Hickle. Then we dive headlong into the Chili Bowl pool. Let's go. Today is Friday, January 7th, 2022. Welcome into Dirt Tracker Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. We're going to go full ham on the Chili Bowl pool in a bit, but first I wanted to cover off on a few news items from yesterday. First up, in a move I did not really see coming, it was announced that Oklahoma teenager Noah Gass is joining the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series full-time in 2022. He'll chase the Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year award against Casey Kane and Spencer Baston, which I think will be a very difficult task. Not many people understand better what it's like out full-time with the Outlaws than does Casey Kane, and Spencer Baston is coming off a very good season and will have all of the resources he needs at CJB. This one surprises me a bit because after just a short few races between the top two 410 series in 2021, Gass is jumping in the deep end with the Outlaws. I certainly applaud him for taking the risk as he's about to be very much up against it. Gass is only 18 years old and made scattered starts with the Outlaws and All-Stars last year. He had 10 appearances between May and July with the All-Stars with a best finish of 14th at Humboldt Speedway in Kansas. In 4 of those races, though, he failed to make the night's feature. In Outlaw competition, Gass appeared 27 times between March and October, the best finish of 12th at River Cities in August. In those 27 races, he made features in 13 of them, so just a tick less than 50% of the time. Later in the year, though, his average finishes were better, and things did appear to be going in the right direction. He did also grab 2 late-season wins with the IRA Sprint Car Series, both of those coming at the Plymouth Dirt Track, one on September 4th and the other 3 weeks later that closed out the IRA season. I think especially to start the year, it will be important for him to just make laps and not tear up his equipment. And kind of remember that this is a marathon and that clean laps early will definitely pay dividends later on. Kind of let that team find its footing, settle into the grind, and I think they'll be fine later on. The addition of Gass brings the total number of World of Outlaws full-time teams now to 14. The full list is Gass, Kane, Sweet, Schatz, Gravel, Macedo, Schuhart, Sheldon Hodenshield, Kinzer, Sides, Johnson, McFadden, Zierfoss, and Baston. Jacob Allen continues to be a question mark here. The Outlaws kick off 2022 in about a month at Volusia. In other sprint car news from yesterday, JJ Hickle is teaming up with Brandon Eikenberry and his Deuce 5 Motorsports team. They're going to run a sizable Midwest schedule and hopefully compete for the 410 championship at Knoxville. Hickle is from Washington and picked up the ASCS Top Rookie honors in 2021, ending up second in the standings. And that was on the strength of 5 wins, 25 top 5s, and 32 top 10s in 38 main event appearances. Hickle has definitely been one to keep an eye on in recent years, and this move feels like a nice progression for him to move into more 410 competition. Eikenberry will have good stuff for Hickle to race, and the cars will be tuned up. This team could definitely surprise some people this season, even as Hickle takes on some tracks he's never seen before. Now with the news out of the way, let's dive headlong into the Chili Bowl pool. What I'm going to do here is switch over to my webcam and then be able to put the pool picks up onto the screen. So let me go ahead and do that now. Let me move my microphone here too so you guys can hear me well. So when you sign up for the Chili Bowl pool, on your screen, you're going to kind of see the rules and kind of a breakdown of the points for each of the nights. And if you've never competed in the Chili Bowl pool before, basically all the prelim nights are broken out into groups. And you make selections in each group, you get points, your points are totaled up, and then you kind of end up going up against everybody. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to compete in this. And if you sign up and when you get the daily kind of update emails, you're going to start recognizing some of the names that are in here. A lot of the guys that are going to compete are people you've probably seen at racetracks or maybe elsewhere. So a lot of people participate in the Chili Bowl pool. It's a fun way to kind of keep up through the week. With everything that's going on. But as you can see here, these are kind of your basic rules. It's important to note that the selection sheet is out and there's not going to be any changes to it. So if somebody new gets added to late entry list, or if someone doesn't show up that's on the entry list right now, there are no write-in votes and there's no changes after you make your picks. So what will end up happening is you'll see a lot of people won't make their selections until basically Monday. And Monday used to be practice all day. Now Monday's actually a prelim night. So they're going to do practice in the morning and then prelim night that night. And your picks are due before hot laps on Monday evening. But what a lot of people do is they're going to wait for hot laps to kind of go through on Monday just to make sure that they have all of the drivers that they want to select that are actually in there. And you don't end up selecting somebody that's not in the field. But so here's your kind of basic rundown. And if a driver ends up being a no-show that you do pick on your sheet, you get 75% of the lowest total earned for the week in that group. So you're going to still get a little bit of points, but not a ton of points. So again, might be better off to wait a little bit longer to submit your picks to help you kind of get just a few more points kind of throughout the week. And what happens is you get points for everybody's prelim nights, and then you get points for where they finish on Saturday in kind of the main event rundown in the obviously the alphabet soup that happens all day long on Saturday. So you break down of points, and then we'll scroll down here and take a look at the actual pool sheet itself. And then when you go in and you make your selections, you're not going to make your selections on this sheet. It used to be that way where you would kind of get your sheet and you would X out basically your selections for each one. But now there's an online form that you fill out and basically just takes you group by group. You make your selections, and it's a little more elegant than this. But I'll zoom in here and we'll kind of run you through a few of these groups so you can kind of see. And when you make your selections, you pick one driver in each group, one selection from each group. That is all you get to choose. It's not a ranking system or anything like that. Just you pick your driver, you get points for that driver, and that's it. And along with this, if you decide you want to make multiple sheets, that's also allowed as well. You can make multiple entries. There just has to be differences in the entries that you make. You can't just submit the same sheet over and over again. But so it used to be, if you look at this, each prelim night has its own groups, and it used to be that that's how the entire sheet was. And then now in recent years, he's added this platinum group. Last year's platinum group was Larson, Christopher Bell, and Rico Abreu. This year's platinum group is a little bit different. I'm a little surprised about, but Larson, Bell, and Justin Grant. And I'm guessing Grant is in there on his feature performance last year from Saturday night, nearly beating Kyle Larson. But if you look, the early groups for each prelim night, Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, those are going to be a lot more of the names that you recognize, guys that run series a lot of the times. And some of the champions, a lot of the bigger names are going to be in those early groups. And then as you get deeper into the groups, those are going to be some more of the rookies, the young people, and some of the names that, a lot of people only race during the Chili Bowl. They don't race any time the rest of the year, but there's going to be a lot more names that you're not going to recognize. And that's where it's going to be important to do some research, really make some picks there, because it's going to be, a lot more difficult to figure out where people could potentially be or where they've raced in the past. So really dive in and make sure you're making good selections there, because there's a lot of points to be gained in some of those late groups as well. But again, here's your Monday groups, or I'll run through kind of some of the early groups and point out some groups that I think are a little interesting on the sheet here. I'm not going to run through every single driver in every single group, but Group 1 from Monday, David Gravel, Chase Briscoe, Kenan McIntosh. Group 2, Mitchell Moles, Cole Bodine, Alex Bowman, Chase Johnson, Tanner Carrick. Group 3, Nick Hoffman, Gavin Boschel, Jaden Rogers, Gary Taylor, Trey Marcham, Jacob Denny, Jerry Coons Jr., and Jesse Love. And then Group 4 on Monday is an interesting group, I think. Chase Elliott is in Group 4, and I'm wondering if Chase might be a little bit high in that group. I think Chase is somebody... obviously, we saw that he can be fast at times. He has still very, very little experience in a midget. Was at Chili Bowl last year and has run some scattered stuff here and there. But that might be, it was looking at some of the other names that are in that group, especially a guy, like an Alex Sewell or somebody like that, who's had a ton of experience at this event. I feel like Chase might be just a tick high there in Group 4. But then as you go through Group 5, Group 6, definitely some more names that you're probably not going to recognize, and a lot more rookies in these groups as well, all the way back to Group 7. And then since we're all the way at the end of the sheet here, you'll notice that there are 2 at-large groups. These are even larger groups that, are going to have their prelim nights and things like that, but are a lot more names that you probably aren't going to recognize in groups. And rookies in these groups as well. But again, only one selection from each of these groups. And these are fairly sizable lists. So go ahead and make sure that you do a little research so you can understand some of the people on these lists. But we'll scroll back over here and take a look at the early Tuesday groups. Tyler Courtney, Jonathan Beeson, Buddy Kofoid in Group 1. T-Maz, Alex Bright, Zach Dom, Chris Wyndham, Zeb Wise in Group 2. Group 3, Jake Newman, Tim McCready, Donnie Schott, Sam Haferteep, Jake Swanson, Kaylee Bryson, Hunter Schoenberg, and Derek Hagar. Over to the early Wednesday groups, Brad Sweet, Blake Hahn, Rico Abreu in Group 1. Group 2, Sammy Swindell, Kevin Thomas Jr., Parker Price Miller, Colby Copeland, Damian Gardner. Group 3, Justin Peck, Brody Roa, Chase Randall, Corey Day, Caden Brown, Ryan Timms, Tyler Thomas, and Anthony Macri. This Group 3 on Wednesday is another one that I think is a really interesting group and could be really difficult selections. You figure Ryan Timms in here. He was standout, knockout guy that all season long, super young driver. Also, Corey Day, young California driver, won an Indiana Midget Week feature this year with Clausen Marshall. Chase Randall, also a young driver in here. Plus, you got sprint car guys like Justin Peck and Anthony Macri in this group. I think that's going to be a difficult one to pick there on Wednesday. Over to the early Thursday groups. Group 1, Tanner Thorson, Logan Seavey, Emerson Axum. Group 2, Spencer Baston, Jason McDougall, Shane Golobic, Brady Bacon, CJ Larry. Group 3, JJ Yaley, Andrew Deal, Steve Buckwalter, Danny Stratton, Joby Miller, Shane Cottle, Brent Cruz, and Brenham Crouch. Brent Cruz, another one of those young drivers in the field driving a Chad boat machine. And your Friday early groups, Kyle Cummins, Darren Pittman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in Group 1. Group 2, Brian Wiedemann, Casey Kane, Corey Eliason, Michael Vicino, and Ryan Bernal. Group 3, Tom Harris, Trey Gropp, Andrew Felker, Clinton Boyles, Ethan Mitchell, Tucker Klassmeyer, Casey Schumann, and Ronnie Gardner. A little bit deeper group on Friday is Group 5 that I think is interesting. This one includes Ricky Thornton Jr. and Ryan Newman. I almost wonder if Ryan Newman maybe isn't getting quite the respect with this Group 5 that he maybe should be. Ricky Thornton Jr. also an interesting one here, a guy that won some heat races at the Tulsa Shootout a couple weeks ago, a guy that's obviously very good in a dirt late model. This is his first Chili Bowl, so maybe he deserves that Group 5. I'm not sure there, but Ricky Thornton Jr., a guy that I think could be pretty fast all week at the Chili Bowl. But those are your kind of early groups for all 5 days. And obviously, as you pull out, you can kind of see just how many selections there are to make because there are so many drivers in the field. We're approaching 400 entries total. But again, one selection from each group all the way through the week, daily updates, and then your Saturday kind of final rundown. The standings are going to move obviously a ton through the week. You see guys kind of going up and down depending on night's base or the night's results and kind of where they end up on a nightly basis. But you'll get daily emails. You'll be able to see kind of how things are stacking up and then where you are kind of in the standings. I'm not going to make my own selections on today's show. I'm going to wait probably until Monday before I'm going to share my picks here. Last year, I made all of my selections based just on data from the DirtTracker.com analytics database. I made a ranking system of every Chili Bowl driver, and then I made my selections just based on that ranking. We finished somewhere in the 200s last year, if I remember correctly. But the problem with that is I wasn't able to pick any rookies because obviously the rookies hadn't appeared in the database, and so I didn't select anybody that way. This year I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm still going to do that ranking system, and I'm still going to be very data driven, very data heavy about why I'm going to make the picks I'm going to make. But I am going to throw my opinion in here, and if there are some rookies that I think are interesting, I will be making those selections as well. But so Monday I'll run you through kind of all my group picks as well. But I want a couple of days to do some research, and I'm going to be one of those that kind of waits until a little bit later to make my selections as well, just because I want to see kind of who shows up. But there is the Chili Bowl pool sheet for you. If you want to sign up, if you'd like to participate, go find Lonnie Wheatley on Twitter at Sooner7NC. He's got the links, all the information you need to know there on how to participate. You can find that there if this is something you are interested in. Also, and I'm going to jump back over to my main camera here. If you want something that's a little bit different than this, there is a Chili Bowl Pick'em contest. This one from Corey Nisha. A little bit different than the full pool picks. This one, you can basically do selections throughout the week. You just kind of pick a couple of drivers. You're going to email your picks to Corey. Entries are due on Monday as well, right before hot laps. Multiple entries are accepted as well. You're going to pick 3 drivers per night for each of the 6 nights for a total of 18 drivers, but you can only pick a driver one time throughout the 6 nights. So it'll be interesting making those selections, especially leading all the way up to Saturday. You will earn points based upon the driver's finish for those respective nights. And it's actually reverse points. So instead of getting like in the Chili Bowl pool I just talked about, you want the most points possible. With this one, you actually want the least points possible. So you're going to make your 3 selections for each night, and then you're going to get points based on that. And if you basically want to be the person with the lowest total after the 6 nights. And again, a good way to follow along with Chili Bowl, kind of a different way to be involved and make some selections. If you want to get involved there, make sure you find Corey Nisha on Twitter. He is Corey and then Nisha Kneeshaw if you're interested in participating in his. So there's a couple of the different ways you can have a little fun with the Chili Bowl pools and the pickup games as we get into the next week of racing starting on Monday. Move-in is taking place this weekend, and then like I said, Monday is practice, and then that'll lead into Monday night's prelim night, and then obviously prelim nights through the week with the alphabet soup starting very early on Saturday morning. Obviously, we'll keep you updated all week long with everything that is happening at the Chili Bowl. There are 6 shows on the streaming schedule for today. Flow Racing has the Ice Bowl from the Talladega Short Track, Indoor Karts and Quarter Midgets from Western Spring, Indoor Karts and Quarter Midgets, and also Racing from Western Springs, and then they have Flow 24/7. Speed Sport TV also has the Ice Bowl, and then the IMCA Winter Nationals continue from Kokopah. To see the full daily streaming schedule through the weekend, visit dirttracker.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. Hope you have a good Friday and a good weekend. If you have thoughts about the topics on today's show, please leave them in the comments below or tweet at me. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back on Monday for more Dirt Tracker Daily.